Let's start. So first of all, just a quick market breakdown. I haven't actually done any work, but looking at it from last week's perspective, gold, two areas of interest. We've taken out these swing highs right here on the 1 hour. So my next point of interest to actually take sells from would be right around this area right here. And then overall long term, looking to place buy positions from the price around here, around 1914, 1912 on those 1 hour zones. We are overall long term in like a, let me just clarify this, a downtrend. And then we could eventually look at going up to the zone around 1950, 1960, and then sell it down from there to the, what you might call it, 1900 level. That seems pretty much good. German 40, it's going to admit that. German 40, let's look at what market is currently doing. Because we have very old areas of interest, and then we can just look at what's happening right here with lows being taken out. Right there. So the next key area of interest for me would personally be this level right here, which we might have just missed. But you can obviously just mark that out. Like that. And then you can look at something like placing sell positions pretty much down. It's a very small zone, so the stop loss could be nice and tight. Just going to look at that, and then we're going to look for previous lows to target right here, and that's going to be more or less this area of interest for me. So we can look at doing that. Let's look at US30 real quick. I'm not looking at too many Forex pairs like currency pairs, mostly like CFDs, and then I'll look at a couple of Forex pairs for this one. Let's just admit Joe. Let's go. So US30 on the 2 hours. I'm just quickly going to head out. I think there was something else we were looking at on Saturday night in terms of backtesting. Okay, so let me just quickly clear this up. I believe this might be a 4-hour weekly zone. Just want to check. Nah, okay, that's smaller time frame, so most probably 4 hours. Yeah, targeting these lows right here, and then the next area of interest is down here. So something we can look at. Let me actually just clear this out. I want to look at where lows got taken out of, so I'm going to clean that. Moves down here, moves down there. That's tapped into it, so I'm going to keep this as an area of interest for me. If you use Fibonacci, it should actually also just align pretty nicely with that. Based off of that on the 4 hour. And then let's check 2 hours real quick. Two hours also looking good. So we could look at doing something like this, and then long-term sells. Pretty much what I'm seeing right now is I'm seeing market most possibly like obviously flipping direction right here, failing take on these lows, flipping on a lower time frame, pushing topside. So my first area of interest would be this one. I wouldn't really use this one. And then my target would be these lows right there. Or if you really want, you could swing it down all the way to around 32,900. Sweet. I'm going to look at a couple Forex pairs, and then I'm going to move over to synthetics, and then I'm going to cover what I want to cover for tonight. Okay, clean charts. Looking good. I'm actually going to go over to daily. Right. So that's that, and that is that. Cool, we can see what goes on here. I'm just gonna mark this area real quick. And then we also have keen interest area here. Took out that. Tap and go. Fire, and then 2 hours. That's done, that's done, that's done, that's killed. This could be an area of interest for GJ currently, just right here. And then that'll be perfect. Just want to check 1 hour. Looking snazzy. So GJ, you have a potential sell area to look at. I'm going to cover what I mean after this breakdown, so just keep an eye on this. But then you could be looking at a move, something like this. I'll refine it a bit now. So it's 127, and let's just quickly check. Yeah, it's fine. Keen on that, and let's check 5 minutes. All right. Keep an eye, obviously, if you're going to look at taking this pair, you need to keep an eye on what's happening here and here. All right. If it pushes top side, you're going to have to wait for something on like a 3 minutes, 2 minutes to actually then turn around and do the same thing. If it breaks downside, you're going to have to start looking for zones to sell it down from. So that's that on GJ. I'm going to leave that price there as is. It looks good to me in terms of a 4 hour swing move. I'm going to look at GBP CAD. I'm not going to touch USD right now. I think last week with the markets and stuff, it was just manic. Let's clear GBP CAD. All right. By now, you guys should pretty much understand what I'm doing. Looking lovely on the daily, taking out those areas. Da, 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 da. Okay. And then we can look at something like that. Sweet. 4 hours. Structure shifting downside, taking out lows. Looking at GBP CAD. Potential sell area is something like this on the 4 hour. Let's do this. There we go. And then just going to refine that. I'm going to just leave that. Thank you. Breaks down there, comes from this area. Okay, so GCAD, I would look at something like this. And then we can obviously target those high time frame swing areas. Alright, so that's also 127. That looks good to me. And then next area is obviously just to look at is if we break these lows, we push down. If we not just break above these, but actually start breaking above these lower time frame highs or lower highs, we flip topside, and we will then look at targeting this area right around here. So then you can look at buy moves to the top side. Cool. Let's look at Euro USD. Look at what happened. We got murdered. Little wick confirmation and then dropped dead. So let me clear this out. Obviously my things are mostly the same color, so don't confuse yourself between like I'm marking levels and I'm also just marking like overall trend. So see where that's going. Yeah. Looking good, looking good. Tapped. I'm thinking these setups will mostly be for the people that swing trade. Broken area there, retested on the daily, dropping. That looks good. And then let's see what's going on here. Breaking of structure, taking out previous highs around these areas. That looks good to me. So I'm going to mark this as a potential sell area on the 4 hour for Euro USD. And then previous lows got swept there, taken out there. And then first TP should be more or less around this area. Look how confusing these lines look. There we go. I'm going to refine this a bit now. Yeah, 2 hours looking fresh. One hour looking even more fresh. Cool. Sweet. That's it for Euro USD, giving you a, I think that's a 1 to 10, 1 to 9. Yeah, 1 to 1, 1 to 15, even better. Cool. Let me check what goes on here. Euro CAD. I'm going to leave Euro GBP. I like. Good stuff. Okay, let's clean this out. Oof. Big oof. Looking good. That's tapped. That's tapped. That is tapped. That is untapped on the 4 hours, breaking these. Getting tapped. Let's see. Maybe we can get something from this area. And then from here we could look at targeting obviously the weekly lows from last week. So 2 hours, let's check it. 2 hours looking lovely. Euro GBP can suck it. I'm gonna make some money this week. Alright, so that's Euro GBP. 1 to 13 looking good. If we push topside, don't yet look at taking buys. Rather let the market run. See if we start breaking these highs, because we do also have an area here that pretty much got tapped, but I believe this was a news event right around this area. Let me actually just do this. Right around there, because this area then seems to be coming from around this area. We got that tap and go. So this area is violated. This is something. No, I wouldn't look at this because it didn't break these. This broke that. that is a new formed area. So that is something to look into. I'm not too sure about this tap. And then obviously looking at the current structure, which is what we always want to be focusing on, is this is the last little move. Now this gave a little tap here, so we can obviously just keep in mind what it does if you look at the structure, but I would hope to get a retest around that area for a very nice 1 to 13 to the downside on Euro JPY. Let's look at Euro. What? Euro JPY? Oh, that was Euro GBP. Okay, Euro JPY. Check out the week. Alright. In terms of weekly demand, I'm going to look at something like this. Do that. And then I just want to check out what's happening with last week's highs and lows. Daily looking fresh. And then this is also looking fresh down here on the daily. Obviously, just keep in mind these moves are all just pure technical based. It has nothing to do with any news. I'm not sure. It looks like we have some news coming up from the 26th. There we go. Looking lacquer. Tapped, gone. Previous area not tapped, breaking structure. Alright, 2 hour area of interest down here. And just something to look at up here is possibly this. Let's check 1 hour. Cool. I'm not going to touch this much. This is a perfect example of something. BPR, this perfect example of what we were backtesting. Euro JPY looking good. But because of that, I'm going to leave that, move this down here for the 1 hour. Alright. And before you get confused about why this is here and we have this down here, I'll get into that later. Let's check out USD ZAR. Oof. Big oof. Okay. Mark that out. And then just going to keep this here as well. Seems fair, that got violated. I'm going to keep this down here. And this up here looks good.
Throw your fucking mind, Joe. Oh, not this.
Looking fresh. Market has shifted topside, as you guys can see, so that looks lacquer. So on the 4 hour, man, move along. On the 4 hour, your first obviously bias or area that I would buy from would be this 4 hour. Otherwise, we have this little area down here. But keep an eye on this. I mean, especially if you look at like Fibonacci entries and all that, it's more or less around your optimal entry point or in that price range. So that looks Gucci. I don't think we're going to sell from any of these other areas right here. This was more just like market stabilizing itself. It's now flipped. It's now failed to make new lows. It's pushing topside. Almost took out the previous week's. Took out previous week's highs. Almost has to do that. And we are still bullish, so we could maybe just get like a stable move to the downside. Look at buying it from around 1833, and then we can target topside, something like this. Keeping it very tight. So first trade would obviously be 1 to like 124.9, almost. Let's see, 125. There you go, 125. That's TP1. TP2 would be like 1 to 15, and then you can obviously just push for like 1 to 17 on USD ZAR. That's what I'm currently looking at. And then we have what you call it, USD CAD. Let's just check that daily again. Okay, USD CAD still waiting in terms of daily moves. Loading. That looks good. That looks proper. These look like taken out areas. All right. So what I would do here is I would obviously suggest marking out these lows. It's struggling to break it. And we also swept some orders up here. So that is Gucci. If we take out these lows on USD CAD, then most probably just mark this area of interest right here. If we break above this, you can then start looking at buy positions to the top side, because overall we have these massive untested areas. Yep, that's looking good for me. In terms of USD CAD, so this would be my first area of interest to take sales from. Something like that. So it's 1, 2, 3 on that setup, and then if we target all-time lows, considering we break structure, we can look at something like a 1 to 8 to the downside. Yet again, if it flips topside, you know what to do. So we can just do that, and then I'm going to leave USD JPY. I'm going to go just to CAD CHF. Oof. Big oof. Let's see what happened here. Sweet. Sweet, 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 sweet. So we have flipped topside in terms of being on the daily. We have not broken this area. However, we are forming internally like higher highs, higher lows. So I'm going to mark this out on the daily. So those are your highs. These are your lows. Do that just to get like general direction. And you can look at this sell area up here. Cool. All right, 4-hour area of interest down here. It does seem like we have momentum shifting, looking at what it's doing here. And obviously just looking at these like lower time frame, lower lows, well, lower highs, but we're not really getting like lower lows, if that makes sense, right? Internally breaking structure down here, but nothing much happening in terms of these lows actually shifting to the downside. So what we want is something to like happen here, maybe get a fading area on a small time frame, sell it down, see that we break this area right here, and then from here we can look to buy topside, or if we break, we push all the way down to this area right down here. Sweet, Gucci, got that. Okay, before I move on to synthetics, any questions on the Forex side?
Oh good, the side.
Nothing, nada. Okay. Any day now. Okay, so VIX 75, I think BPO and I touched base on this around Saturday night. It's looking very messy now, but I'll cover it now. So obviously what we have here is a bit of a little pattern going on for the retail traders. Obviously you use this in conjunction with your supply and demand, so don't freak out too much by what you're seeing like there or like right there. Cool. So this is obviously 15-minute areas. Market is taking out orders up here. It is also like breaking high time frame wise, it's breaking to both sides. However, we are on this uptrend. So what I would look for is a break of structure on 15 minutes. First to take out this high and this high up here, right? Only once we take these out and close, I will look for zones that have formed like on the 15 or 5 minutes to then target, and then I would take buys back up to my area of interest around here, which will be the first TP for me. So if we clear on this for VIX 75, we're going to look at it to break this, give us a zone somewhere in this area, right? In the initial move. And that's the plan to then buy topside. However, having a plan, we also have lows here. So I want these two lows to be taken out first. And then, depending on what we get, a supply area, and then we can sell it down, targeting these lows down here as TPs. And this is just purely looking at it on the 15-minute level. That's all. That's it on 75. I want to check out something else. $51S are dangerous. Dangerous. Dead. Killed. Kaput. Let me clean this up actually. $51 is tapped on the daily. See, nothing's happened there, so we can mark this area. And let me just see what the current highs and lows are. Gonna mark the previous day's highs because that candle has closed. Today's one hasn't closed yet. Let's check 4 hours. Obviously, keep in mind on the daily, we shifting to fading to break highs, right? So long term, let's look. First area of interest to sell VIX 51S. Keep in mind it's an expensive pair, like very expensive. So don't take this if you do not have like big stonks or just sufficient capital. Yeah, that's what I recommend. You can look at something like this, and then you can target this one as a 1, 2, 3, or you can target, where are these lows right here, so just above that on 51s.
sample the trade.
Sorry?
Nice ball.
Alright, so you can look at targeting that as TPs, right, for 51s. Obviously keeping in mind on the daily we are making lower highs, and then smaller time frame wise we have this trend still going. Alright, and then we have also taken out lows right there. We have taken out these lows right here, and now all we need is some sort of like pullback to a like very tasty sell zone. Let's check 1 hour real quick. One hour looks good. Let me just check 2 hours.
Die bij ons.
2 hours also looking perfect for 51s, so you can just refine that to that entry right there. Stop loss, just make it about that point. 1 to 10, yet again, it's a very expensive pair, so just keep in mind what can happen. For the guys that trade fib, you can just
Drop it like it's hot.
you can just do that as well. Yet again, they're 4 there, so good stuff.
Kom maar naar mij toe. Kom.
All right, crash and boom traders. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, tap and go. Tap and go on that. I actually just want to check the smaller time frame quickly because I know there was something there. Yeah, crash 1000 pretty much executed to the T. Let's see what your next area, well, point of interest area is.
Ik was aan dan.
What?
Kan we het eindig met een kraan.
I'm just going to do that. So, that looks good.
He left his mic on.
Yeah, it's fine. I muted him. It's fine. Okay. I'm going to pull this back here. Obviously, we violated that, and then we took out a sticky structure right there. And we also have the supply zone here after like a sweep has happened. I don't want to call it liquidity sweeps, but it's just like, you know, double top, which makes it a highly probable area to then tap back into. We are also failing to take out lows right here, pushing above that. So crash 1000, most probably you're looking at doing something like this. Dope, dope, dope. Yet again, top side. Not seeing it do any moves really to the top side right now. Obviously, nice little double bottom here. If you break this, you can see what happens here. If it breaks this, you need to then possibly it will be this area right here that you can then target for buy moves, if that makes sense. Okay, crashed and that's done. VIX 100. Oof. Everything is just a big oof lately. Look at that go. Oh man. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Nothing, not much. Okay. Current daily low is right there. Previous daily high right there. This looks pretty good, like an area that was tapped on 4 hours. I'll keep that in mind. Sweet. And then we can look at this area up here. Perfect. And then this one up here. Lovely. Yet again, 2 hour looking Gucci. So these are some nice key areas. This buy move most possibly is probably gone unless we break these lows. Then you can target this area right here as a supply zone. Otherwise, market looks like it's starting to shift topside. We could firstly target this area as a TP, not a sell zone. And then this area up here will most probably be your first area that you could look to take sales from. Looks good. Structure is, it is obviously failing to make lows, and we are obviously making lower highs and higher highs compared to what we have here. Gucci. So that's it on VIX 100. Let me just check a smaller time frame. Looks good. So before taking any possible buy moves on VIX 100, right? If you look at the 30 minutes, we have obviously these highs here, or lower highs on smaller time frames, and this. So look for a significant break, because it looks like we are failing to obviously break these lows down here, right? Market is failing with that. So if it breaks this, good chance it's going down. If it breaks the first one, wait for a break of the second one, find a new demand zone, and then buy it from there, targeting TP just above this as the first one. Let's check. We have 75, 51 is crash 1000. Let's check crash 500. Oof, lovely. So the buy didn't work out. The rest of them, come on, eventually, solid stuff. Solid stuff. Let's check what's happening. All right. Let's see what's happening here. Failing to take out lows. Depending on where this 2 hour candle closes, you might have market still going down. So it just depends on where that closed. Let me see. Taking out structure there, forming a kind of flaggish thing, if you look at it from this perspective. Right. So just so we're clear, that's what I'm seeing. Let me just mark that again. I'll check 75.1s now. Just give me a bit. So we need a solid break to the top side. However, if this goes down, sell area, nothing here, and that is pretty much it for crash for crash 500. Let's check VIX 75.1s. Load shedding might hit, so if that does happen, everything will just, I don't know, switch over. Today, mm, 75.1s, an untapped area here. And we have obviously broken internal highs here on the 4 hour. We've broken that. You have the possibility of pushing topside I would still say obviously wait to see that these highs get taken out on higher time frames, because you also have these 4-hour lows here, right? So let's mark that and let's go in on smaller time frames and see what happens. Looking good. 2-hour area point of interest. Right there. So if we break this, you can look to buy from this area right here. If we break that, we have lower time frame areas. Your buy from this lower time frame area, right, based off of what I'm seeing, would be from the top of the zone, something like that. Don't ask me how I know, we just know. I'm joking, you'll find out. But we know. So that's going to be like that. That's your first area of interest. These guys are late. Okay, that's it for 75. Well, kind of. Let's check 1 hour before I leave.
Yeah.
All right, 75 1S looking fine still. Yet again, see what happens here on 1 hour as well. Get me. Let's quickly check small time frames, because we have broken that as well, so we might as well push topside. Internally, ooh, possible buy coming up on 75 1S. Just like that. This could be so tight. This could be so tight on 75 1S. So, let me just accept this guy. So, I'm going to mark this like what I usually would, right? Something like that. First area is that's 1 to 9, and then you can target these 1 to 17. However, you know the draw. When it comes in here, go to like a 2 minute, not a 1 minute, not a 3 minute, go to a 2 minute. Check for the break of structure topside to form new zones. Check for that to get retested and push topside, and then you enter, and then you can get possibly something that looks like this on what's the 75 1S. Let me say this, make a copy. Okay, that's it for today's stream. Now, what I wanted to talk about in terms of what I said, I'm going to explain to you guys real quick. This is something I have mentioned in my, I think it should be in the training content. But it is also something that you need to look at, or like just change the way you look at it, right? So if you look at, let's say we look at gold right here, okay? These are like 4-hour supply zones. I think this one down here that's also a 4-hour, right? Now remember, if you go look, I might just switch. Let me just quickly check what's going on here. Let me sort this out. That's classic load shedding. Desktop 1, share, perfect. You guys should still be able to hear me, so that's fine. And let me just check that OBS is also recording. No, it's not. So I'm going to add this here. Give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds. Macro screen capture. Alright. I don't even know how this looks, but that should.
Looking for
Whatever, that should just work now. So if we look at this, right, whoever is talking, I'm just gonna mute your mics. There we go. Alright, so if we look at this, right, if you go look at the trades that we've taken in the past, right, if you have them mapped out, go keep your buy or sell order like indication things, right, and just remove your trend lines, remove your supply and demand lines, just remove all that, and just look at the chart with nothing on it except your entry point with a stop loss and TP, and just look at it and realize for a moment, like, how in the hell would you have taken that trade if you didn't know how to draw these things, right? What I need you to look at is, if you look at an area like this 4-hour supply area, right? That doesn't mean like this is where we sell, right? Because I mean, that's obviously what it looks like. Okay, we're going to come back, tap the zone, we sell. No. See this as like an area with like a little bit of a range around it. Something like this. So like you have your area and then you've got a little bit like above or below it, right? Usually if it's a supply, you would only look like a bit below it, and if it's a demand, a bit above it. But the thing is, this is just a drawing you place to show yourself this is an area. It's not like a physical like marked spot you're going to take moves from here, right? So when we reach these areas, and this is why I always say if you can't place limit, well, if you can watch the market, don't place your limits. When you reach these old areas, it doesn't mean you now just buy or sell from those old areas. It means in those price areas, you go down to smaller time frame and you wait for that break of structure or that failure to break of structure and retest. That's all. Because it seems like a lot of people obviously asking me questions, getting emails and stuff is like, listen, I've marked these zones, I place my orders and they don't work out. Where obviously the stuff we share, some of them work, some of them don't work out. And it's always just a case of like, these are just areas at which you can look at the markets turning around and taking buy or sell trades. These aren't areas where you definitely buy or sell from. Okay, this is something I have covered in one-on-ones, in training content, in stream. It is there, but I don't think it's made very clear in the training content itself. Okay, so that is pretty much it. That's all I wanted to share and just recap on, is that you guys keep in mind these areas are not areas where we definitely buy or sell from. These are just areas of interest in which the market will tend to shift around to give us that structural change and then follow the original supply and demand, market structure pattern. Cool. That's it. I have nothing else to cover. Do you guys have questions? Of course, Diego, speak, bro. Like, talk.
Okay, so my question is, if it comes to that zone, right?
Yes.
You say go down to that at least 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So if you like in your stream, like obviously like that gold sell, have that zone and like entry point.
Yeah.
Do we put this sell limit in there? And if it comes close, then we rather remove it if you're watching it and then wait for that 1 minute or 2 minute break? Or do we take that as a sell limit and then like leave it and hope it touches? Or
well, look, that's the thing, right? Because sometimes it goes to the middle of an area, sometimes it doesn't, and then we ask ourselves why not. And lately we're seeing like this 1 or 2 pip move, but I'm telling you, if you go and you go down to that small time frame, you will see the market like shift in that area, right? So I get your question. For me, it's a case of like, as I always said, if you can watch the market, don't place a buy or sell limit. Like, don't even like place a limit. Just know, okay, I need to watch the market. This is my key. Like, these are my areas of interest in which I'm looking to buy or sell from. That's it. If you can't watch the market, place your limits. Your middle of the zone is ideally your most like preferred entry area. But other than that, if you can watch the markets, dude, don't place buy or sell limits, because like right now, we are losing more trades than we are winning. And yes, we're still making money because we have a very high risk reward. But if you don't place those limits because you can watch it and you get your actual confirmations, like you will then win more than you lose because you don't have those unnecessary trades there. If that answers your question.
so you will on a 2 minute actually see a break of structure.
So you will see the exact
like,
same thing.
have it as a confirmation.
Like you will see the exact same thing. So now let's say market enters this area, right? It's going to do the same thing. It's going to fail to break, give an actual break, and then retest like a 2 minute zone formed in that impulsive move breaking this. That is then if a candle then pushes bearish, right? Like closes bearish in it or like wick confirmation, doesn't matter. Candle pushes bearish, you can then enter, stop loss above the major zone, and then as long as it continues breaking structure downside, you can hold it. So it's the same thing that you look for on a higher time frame to see the market change direction. You go into a 2 minute, do the same thing.
And you said use that for anything. So if you have a zone, have like a that sell order thing there, like on your screen, just so that you know that's more or less where you want it.
Yeah, that's
And then
ideal
wait for that
because-
2-minute break of structure.
Because what happens is sometimes you get something like this, right? Market pushes, and then it comes to like here, and then does that. Or, let me just, sec. No man. Go. Escape key not working tonight. Perfect. I think I broke my escape key. Anyways. Because what also happens is market does, it either comes to like the start of the zone and then stops working, or, well, not stops working, like gives you that, or it actually pushes into this area all the way to like here and then gives you that, you know? And then here, when it comes back, is where you enter, stop loss there, and then as long as it breaks downside. So it's the same thing you look for. Like obviously when you look at it on the daily or 4 hour, you see like, okay, market is failing to make, like it's failing to break, it broke. So we're looking at market shifting. Then to get your entry, you go down to the low time frame and you look for the exact same thing.
Yeah, well, would you be able to just backtest this and maybe show us an example of how you kind of tie it down to the lower time frames?
I've done this. I'll tell you what, tomorrow night, we do another stream.
Okay.
And because it's not a market breakdown stream, so tomorrow night, I will show this to you guys.
Okay.
Because like I'm on the road tomorrow most of the day. I'm not sure what time I get back, but tomorrow night definitely we hit a stream and then I will show this because I have done this on streams before. It should be like in one of the past streams. I think I did it on the VIX 25 pair where it was the 4 hours. I show it shifting. We mark the areas. We go into like a 2 minute and I show exactly where you would have entered. So we can do it again tomorrow night and we can look at different pairs, DAX, US30, GJ, synthetics, like, you know, just so you guys, obviously, for those that are new, get familiar with how it works or how it looks visually apart from the training content.
Thanks. I'll definitely appreciate that.
Cool. Any other questions before we end tonight's stream?
Okay, then I've got one more if no one else has anything. Apparently people are shy to talk. So if you have that zone, right, and you're expecting it obviously to, like the supply zone, tap it and then obviously go down for a sell.
Yeah.
Would you, if it goes in there, you're expecting it to go obviously down, so then you go to your 2 minutes for that confirmation.
Yeah.
Is it possible for the market to give you that confirmation, you enter, and then it just like doesn't respect the 2 minute and then just carries on going?
Yeah.
Like
it does
upwards
happen.
or?
It does happen, and I think that's what we saw happen on I think it was the one Forex pair we tested earlier, where it like literally wicked our stop loss and then plummeted, right? But then if you look at that confirmation on the time frame, it then, instead of giving you that, it gave you the wick confirmation, where it wicked above, closed inside, and the next candle closed bearish. And then on that closure is where you would have entered stop loss above the wick. So
So you would have then 2 entries. You'd have one that hit the stop loss and then you'd re-enter with a wick confirmation.
yes, because then from there it plummeted.
Okay.
I'm not sure which. I think it was a euro or a GBP pair. Maybe it was euro GBP. No, it was something. GJ. Something. Obviously, this video will go on YouTube, so if you just go rewatch that, you'll see the pair there. But yeah, literally, bro, taps the stop loss, plummets, and then when you backtest that mistake that you made, you can see like, okay, gave me a wick confirmation. And because like obviously I didn't watch the markets, I wouldn't have seen it, didn't share an updated entry or whatnot. But for those that do watch the markets, you could see that happen and then know, cool, maybe the smaller time frame structure change was a bit early. Now you got the higher time frame change. Obviously, the higher time frame structure changes on the stronger the market move is.
Yeah.
And then you take it off of that.
And for a zone, how small of a time frame would you go to actually have a zone?
So obviously, the higher the higher time frame the zone that you're targeting, the stronger the, you can call it buy sell pressure would be from that area. But 2 minutes, dude. You can use a 1 minute. I like to use 2 minutes because it just compresses those candles together a bit better.
Okay. But obviously, the lower you go, you want it in one of your bigger time frame ones.
Yeah. Because remember, that 2 minute change literally just gives you that tip of the wick I mean, you've seen the charts or the trend stuff. Like sometimes we enter on the tip of that wick on a 4-hour candle. That's literally what that 2-minute structure change gives you. Is like that turning point where the market goes around.
I'm gonna go back test that a little bit.
Okay, sweet. If no one else has any other questions, then we are done. Vishal says, I personally don't like buy sell limits. I only set one if I know for sure I will not be able to watch it. Yeah, that's the idea, bro. If you can watch it, don't set limits. Watch the trade, get your confirmed entry. If you can't watch it, set the limit. But also, obviously, look for your higher time frame. Like, look at where highs got taken out, lows got taken out, where it failed to break and then broke. Right? For example, if you look at these wicks right here, you can see market, like in terms of the wicks on this time frame, failed to like properly close above it. So it gives you like, okay, there's a lot of like resistance in that area, and then it broke. So it's like, cool, high probability zone. Make sense? Cool, sweet. Guys, that is it for tonight. Shot for the stream. Just keep in mind what I said, and then yeah, I'll check you guys in the market probably like tomorrow afternoon.